All right, let's talk about something that's absolutely crucial for any family that loves the beach, but is honestly dangerously misunderstood. And that's your beach umbrella. What if I told you that the very thing you trust to keep your kids safe might be failing them completely? We're going to get into the real data. Man, this one really hits home. And it's exactly why we're doing this. You think you've done everything right, you know? You set up the umbrella, you put your kid in the shade, and they still get burned. It is so frustrating, it's confusing, and let's be honest, it feels like you've been totally misled. So what is actually going on here? Okay, so let's get right into it. It all starts with something I call the shade myth. We've all been raised to believe that if you're in the shade, you're safe from the sun. Simple, right? But it turns out, when it comes to that piece of fabric over your head at the beach, that assumption is just dangerously wrong. And this is really the heart of the issue. We see the shade, we feel cooler, and our brain just naturally thinks, okay, we're protected. But the thing is, ultraviolet rays, the ones that do the damage, are totally invisible, and they can sail right through a lot of the fabrics we use. That feeling of safety? Yeah, it can be a complete illusion. And here is the number that should really make you stop and think. Your typical run-of-the-mill beach umbrella, it often has a UPF, that's ultraviolet protection factor, of only 5 to 15. So what does that actually mean? A UPF of 5 means a full 1/5, that's 20%, of UV radiation is still getting through. Over a whole day at the beach, that's a ton of exposure. And this is why it's so much more critical when we're talking about our kids. First off, their skin is literally 20 to 30% thinner than ours, which means those UV rays just penetrate way deeper. And the stakes for that are incredibly high. The data is clear. Just one blistering sunburn when they're little can actually double their lifetime risk of melanoma. It's serious stuff. So all this got me thinking. You can't just trust what it says on the box. You have to trust the data. So that's what we did. We went out and bought 7 of the most popular beach umbrellas you can find and put them under a professional UV meter to see what was really going on with that fabric. But before we look at the results, we have to set our benchmark. What's our gold standard? For us, it's UPF 50+. That's the rating you need for real excellent protection. It means the fabric is blocking at least 98% of UV rays. Anything less than that for our test was not going to cut it. That was our line in the sand for a pass. All right, now check this out. This chart says it all, doesn't it? Look at the difference between what's claimed and what's real. That cheap Amazon one just said UV protection. It tested at a UPF of 8, a total fail. Even the famous Tommy Bahama, which calls itself a sun umbrella, only clocked in at 15. But do you see the pattern here? The ones that actually passed, the Sport-Brella, the BeachBUB, and the UV blocker, they all specifically said UPF 50+. Those vague marketing terms mean absolutely nothing. And this is the single most important takeaway from all our testing. It does not matter how much you paid for it. It doesn't matter if it's a super famous brand. The only thing that guarantees your family is protected is that specific verified UPF 50+ rating on the tag. That's the number you can trust. So we had a few clear winners that passed our test, which was great. But we really wanted to dig in and see which one gave you the absolute best all-around protection for your family. And, well, one definitely stood out from the rest. Yeah, the UV blocker was our top pick, hands down. It didn't just meet the UPF 50+ standard. Its special fabric actually made the shade feel about 15 degrees cooler, which, let me tell you, is a total game changer on a hot day. The anchor's solid too. But that last point, that's what really got me. The company was founded by a melanoma survivor. You're talking about someone who gets the stakes better than anyone. Okay, but even with the best umbrella in the world, you're not done. It's not some magic force field. If you really want to be safe at the beach, you have to think about a whole system, because the sun is sneaky. It doesn't just come from straight up. So get this. This is a number that blows most people's minds. The sand itself acts like a mirror, reflecting up to 1/4 of all UV rays right back up at you. So those rays are coming in from underneath, totally bypassing the shade from your umbrella. It's a huge, and I mean huge, source of exposure that most people never even think about. So here's how you fight back. You think in 4 layers. Your UPF 50+ umbrella, that's layer 1 for the sun overhead. A good ground cover or blanket is layer 2. It absorbs those reflected rays. UPF clothing, like rash guards, is your crucial layer 3, especially when the kids are in and out of the water. And finally, sunscreen is layer 4, for all the skin that's still exposed. You put them all together, and that's a complete system. All right, let's wrap this up and get you ready for the beach. Based on everything we tested and this whole protection system, here are the umbrellas you can actually buy with confidence, knowing you're keeping your family safe. So, for the best all-around protection and comfort, the UV blocker is our #1 pick. If you're on a bit of a budget but refuse to compromise on safety, the Sport-Brella XL is an awesome choice. And look, if you're always at those super windy beaches, the BeachBUB and its anchor system is just unbeatable. All three are rated UPF 50+, so you can't go wrong. If you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this: stop trusting marketing. Just ignore the buzzwords like sunblocking or UV protection. Look for one thing, and one thing only: that UPF 50+ label. It's the only language the sun understands, and it's the only proof you have that you're actually keeping your family safe. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about before your next beach trip. Go take a look at your gear. Read the tags. Is it actually protecting your family? Because finding out the answer to that, well, it can make all the difference in the world.